Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our retirement planning workshop. Our goal tonight is to get you in and out in a timely manner. We kind of go through very pertinent information, and our goal tonight is to share some things with you that I don't think you've heard before. So, for those in our audience, you have a little kit. For people that are listening at home, watching at home, this will be on my website. When you came in, you picked up a feedback form. We'd really appreciate it if you could fill this out. It helps us to improve our workshop in any way and kind of keep track of everyone that comes in. One thing that's very important, a lot of people, when you answer the phone, please put your preferred phone number and then a preferred time to call you. I don't want to call you at 7 o'clock at night when you're watching Wheel of Fortune or something and disrupt your TV. In the kit, and also a little bio on myself. I was born and raised on a large dairy farm in Maine, so I learned the responsibility of hard work early in life, and I bring that into my financial planning practice. Right behind that is Mark Twain. Now, that's not me, but he has a quote, and I'm going to try to relate to this quote as we go forward. And I don't like to use the word ain't, but he used it in his quote. It ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. So we program to think things over our lifetimes, and then all of a sudden we have an epiphany, or we come to a workshop like this, and all of a sudden it's, wow, things aren't that way. So I'm going to try to enlighten us on that. One example of that, we come to a stop sign. We all go to stop signs. They're red, they're black, right? We come to a railroad crossing sign, octagon, yellow on there. Does everyone know what color a yield sign is? And most people in the audience will say yellow, and I did when I first was asked this example, a yellow yield sign. But in 1971, it was changed to red. So I'm sure a lot of people will go out and look at the yield sign now. So just a different concept on what we're trained to think and what's in reality. Also in your kit is a little business card staple in there. It's called 401k Maneuver. If you text 7WS to this number, you're not going to get a bunch of snake oil on your computer. It's going to be this nice brochure talking about 401ks and how they're working for the younger audience. We find that people are getting their 401k statements, they're folding them up, putting them away, don't understand them. We want you to become involved with your 401k. Very important. So we can help manage this 401k. Think of it as an example, the S&P 500. There's 500 large companies in America. They're all great companies, or they wouldn't be in that group. But on a quarterly basis, what if we could rebalance your portfolio? This quarter might be gas and oil, next quarter might be healthcare, and so on. So if we can rebalance this 401k for you on a quarterly basis and help you and make you become involved, it becomes a much better situation. So we offer this also. Your 401k stays right where it is. We just help you manage it. Also in your kit, I was very fortunate last year. I was able to get an article published on Forbes magazine. So it's time for a retirement epiphany. So an epiphany is something that kind of comes to you and you say, oh my gosh, I finally got it. So this article's kind of synopsis of what I'm talking about tonight. So, and again, for the people that are watching this at home, this is available on the website. Just a little bit on financial advisors and what's going on out there. People understand doctors pretty well. If you want to go, if you have a heart problem, you go to a heart surgeon. If you got a foot problem, you go to a foot surgeon, specialist. But financial advisors, it's a little bit more of a difficult. We haven't understood that as well. I'll just share with you an article from Barron's Magazine. In 2016, there was a law passed that anyone works with IRAs, 401ks, has to be a fiduciary. The other term is suitability. So as long as you had financial products that were sold to you that weren't wildly inappropriate, it's okay to sell those knowing that it may not be the best for you. So a fiduciary always works on the same side of the table as you. We're there to help. So this article also is available on the website. What we're going to discuss tonight, different risks in retirement planning. They say more people die coming down Mount Everest than they do going up. So now once we hit this retirement age, it's like a whole new game. So we're going to help you with that. So risks to consider in retirement planning, some simple strategies to protect your retirement income, and how to bridge that income gap. Life expectancy. We all know we're living longer. Probably everyone out there knows someone that's 80, 90, or maybe even 100 years old. I have a nice article here that I picked up last fall. It says, I just can't sit here and do nothing. This lady turned 100 years old and she's out working and volunteering. My mom is 96 years old and she still plays piano at the Dixmont Church. So we all know people that are living longer. So we need money to last throughout our lifetimes. It's interesting to note as couples all the way through, couples live longer than people living single. So I guess that's for happily married couples. So whole concept, we're living longer, we need to prepare for that. Number 2 is inflation. Inflation is something we don't see every day. We go out and buy things, but all of a sudden after 5 or 10 years, inflation catches up, and all of a sudden we need more dollars just to buy the same amount of goods that we've been using. Example, at 3% inflation, prices would double in just a 24-year period. So we have to invest our money also in things that keep up and grow with inflation. Number 3, healthcare. A big thing, especially with seniors. It's expected, this is a fidelity study. The average 65-year-old couple will spend $280,000 out of pocket on medical expenses over their lifetime. I mean, just going to the dentist and things like that. Premiums, deductibles, co-pays, medical supplies, you name it. So healthcare is a very expensive proposition and getting more expensive. Risk number 4 is long-term care. So how many people here want to talk about nursing homes? Going to the nursing home? Nobody, huh? Well, I ask in presentations like this, who thinks they're going to go to a nursing home? And no one answers. Who thinks it's their neighbor? I think it's that guy. Whether it's whoever it's going to be, we all should go visit nursing homes. I know my grandmother lived in, she had to go to Camden, Maine nursing home for, she was in there for 10 years. So we should all go visit nursing homes and understand them. Thank God we have them to help in that situation, but it's very expensive and it's something we can talk about. There's a lot of different ways on protecting our assets and things from nursing homes, and we can discuss that when you come into the office. Taxes. Taxes are a big thing. You'd think when you retire you paid enough tax in your life, but no, they just keep coming on. They tax your pension, Social Security, retirement accounts, interest, dividends, everything gets taxed. Now there was just a new federal tax law that just passed that most of us now have had a reduction in our tax rates. So it might be a great time to rethink, can I change some of my IRA 401k money over to a Roth? The beauty of the Roth IRA is you don't have to take minimum distributions at 70.5, but all the growth grows tax-free, and then when you take it out to spend the money, it's tax-free. So it's a great program if it works for you. So it's something you should get with your CPA, and we call it bump the tax bracket. If we can convert some stuff over and not get into a higher tax bracket, that would be great. Volatility. If we have a lot of our money in the stock market, we obviously know volatility is out there. Since the S&P 500 since 1928, it's been 25 instances when it's been down 20% or more. So that gets kind of scary when we're retired. We see that money dropping. So properly set up, we won't have to worry about that. Just this example, if stock market drops 50%, so you had $100,000, it dropped to $50,000. We would need 100% gain the next year to gain back what we lost in 50. So the 50,000 would have to be 100% or to get us back to 100. So it's a great little concept. Simple strategy to protect our retirement income. We like to call it the 3-bucket approach. We all need liquid money for major purchases in the next 3 to 5 years, where rate of return is less important than 100% liquidity, access to the money. Number 2 is income. We need income for the rest of our lives. We need a paycheck to come in. So we'll talk about this a little bit later, but we used to have pensions. Anyone out here have pensions? Oh, that's great. We have 1 or 2 here. We have Social Security we'll talk about. And then if we don't have enough guaranteed income, we'll share with you some ways that may work for you to design your own pension type plan. And then again, we talked about inflation. We do need some money, we believe, to keep up with inflation. This is money that will fluctuate over time, but if our other 2 buckets are fine, and we know that's going to happen on a controlled basis, we believe you need to keep up with inflation with that third pot of money. So again, liquid money, emergencies, unplanned expenses, easily accessible, relatively stable. Cash, checking, CDs, savings bonds, money markets. And how much should we keep liquid? Everyone's going to be a little different. Everyone in this audience is different. So when you come into the office, we can sit down and kind of discuss what's appropriate for you. The income bucket has to be predictable, a relatively consistent amount, and enough to meet your everyday bills. It could be, again, Social Security, pension, annuity, could be rental income. Some people out here love to own their own homes and rent income, rental income, investment income. You can work part-time, get some business income. So there are a lot of different things we can put in this bucket, and we'll discuss those a little bit. Social Security. More than 90% of retirees will get Social Security. Average benefits now around $1,400, and about 33% of our total monthly income comes from Social Security. So it's based on your career earnings and the age at the time you collect your benefits. In your kit, there's a little thing on Social Security, and it'll give you the age when you can start full retirement age. And full retirement age in this example, if you're born in 1960 or later, is 67. 43 to 54 at 66. And 55 to 59, full retirement age is 66th birthday plus 2 months for every year after 1954. So here's a little chart that we're handing out, and this again is available on our website. What is your age? And it's important to note, a lot of people in the group, the example here is full retirement age is 66. A lot of pictures of Uncle Sam are kind of gruff and I want your money and all that stuff. So I try to get a nice picture of Uncle Sam because this is a very important benefit. And we have to understand Uncle Sam's best offer. And everyone in this audience is different. But it's important to understand that if your full retirement age is 66, we can start as early as age 62. In this example, full retirement age is $2,000 a month. If we start at 62, it's $1,500 a month, and that's a permanent reduction. If we can wait until age 70, since we're living longer, it's going to grow at 8% a year, which is hard to get anywhere, until you're age 70. So it's 76% more. The whole idea of Social Security, many people take it at 62 just because, you know, we want the pound of flesh from the government before they go broke. But the whole idea of Social Security is a social program. And the idea is we're up in our 80s and 90s. We've got a nice inflation-adjusted check to keep us going. So there's reasons to take it at 62 also. You look at your longevity or illness. You just can't stand your job anymore. So there's a lot of reasons to take it at 62. You might decide, hey, I'm tired of corporate America. I'm going to start my own business, and Social Security will put food on the table while I'm getting up and running, and I know it's going to work. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just understand Uncle Sam's best offer. This is a nice little saying back in 1937 Supreme Court ruling. The hope behind the statute is to save men and women from the rigors of the poorhouse, as well as from the haunting fear that such a lot awaits them when journey's end is near. So back in 1935, when Social Security started by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, it was pretty tough times. It was Depression times, and people were old and weak and couldn't work, and so Social Security's been a great program. So again, Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1935 was the president when Social Security started, and one thing he promised was to never tax Social Security benefits, and he didn't. So it might surprise us that who was the first president to tax Social Security? And it was 1983, it was Ronald Reagan, okay? And they got a little trouble with Social Security, so they decided to tax up to 50% of the benefits depending on your income. Exactly 10 years later, 1993, Mr. Clinton was in office and had a little more problems, so they decided now to tax up to 85% of Social Security. It was known as the Congressional Reallocation Program, commonly referred to as CRAP or CRAP. So that's the Social Security. Very important we take it at an appropriate time for who we are. When should I file? Again, no right or wrong answer. When's the best time to file for you? Defined benefit pension plans. There used to be, most big companies had pension plans. We retired, we got a pension, so they're kind of going away. Companies feel they're getting too expensive, and it's like a liability on their balance sheets. Annuities, some of the newer annuities have come into play to help design some pension plans for us. There's a couple different types, and again, like financial advisors, it's a little confusing who to work with. Same with annuities. We hear all these things about annuities or things on TV, and I'll go back to the Ben Franklin saying there, we think we know something for sure, but it really isn't so. So there's been a lot of new designs out there in recent years with annuity products that will help guarantee us, or absolutely guarantee us, guaranteed income for life. So if we have an income gap, perhaps that may be something that would work for us. The older annuities were called immediate annuities. So you basically had a lump sum of money, you gave it to the insurance company, and in return they give you guaranteed lifetime income. So that worked pretty well when interest rates were high. Interest rates are quite low now, in fact the lowest they've been in a long, long time, so they don't work so well. So that might be one of the annuities that you've heard about. And then we come in with deferred annuities. You put the money in now and wait a number of years before you start taking income, and they'll grow on a predictable basis. In the growth bucket, we need things that keep up with inflation. So basically the stock market. So the stock market will go up, it will go down, but as long as we keep buying things, we're going to be consumers. There's always going to be companies out there producing things, and we're going to be buying them. So on a controlled basis, we'll help you set up a program so that we can hopefully keep up with inflation also. Growth buckets, 401ks are most always stocks and bonds, traditional IRAs. Some life insurance also can be designed when appropriate. Stocks, mutual funds, other investments. And we have 401k, employee-sponsored retirement plans. Contribution limits, 2019's $19,000 if you're under age 50, $25,000 for age 50 or older. So those are getting pretty generous if we are able to max those out. Traditional IRAs, the income is tax deductible when we invest in the IRA, but then all the growth and everything becomes taxable when we take it out. Roth IRAs, we don't get a tax deduction now, but we get all the growth and everything is tax-free when we take it out. So I had a client tell me a while back, say, well, I really need a tax deduction now. I said, well, think of it this way. You're young, you're working, you're making good money. Yeah, you do need a tax deduction now, but so you're saying you're better off, you're going to be more able to pay the tax when you're retired and not working than you are now? So we kind of reconsidered that. So it depends on your tax bracket whether it's a benefit for you. IRA contributions, $6,000 under 50 and $7,000 for age 50 and above. Again, life insurance, it depends a lot on who you are, your health, your age, and things like that, but that's something we may be able to discuss when you come into the office. And we all know about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and things like that. One thing we like to do in the stock market area, it's called tactical management. So in today's volatile environment, the stock market's way up here, what do? So we've got a program, it's called tactical management. And what that does, it comes from the word sailing. So you can tack your sailboat and go into the wind and still go forward. So again, on a quarterly basis, we'll rebalance the portfolio. This bottom line, and guys, you have this in your kit, and this is available again on our website. This black line is just the unmanaged S&P 500. S&P 500 is 500 large companies in America. They're all good, or they wouldn't be in there. So, but on a quarterly basis, what if we could rebalance that? What if, just like the 401k maneuver program, on a quarterly basis, it might be gas and oil this quarter, it might be healthcare the next quarter, and so on. So the upper line shows what tactical asset management can do, and it can make quite a difference over time in the amount of money you have to retire on. And we try to cut out the losses. So rather than just being totally unmanaged like an S&P 500 fund, this is managed, and the design is to cut these losses. So great program for bucket 3, if you will. Let's go through different fees. We have to understand what kind of fees we're paying if we were in a stock market type account. And some companies charge a lot more fees than others. Some of them kind of come in on the back end. I won't mention any names today, but if you come into the office, these are all on the websites of these companies. And I'll just read one of those. It says virtually all of the products with this company involve product partners that pay revenue sharing. We want you to understand that the receipt of revenue sharing payments creates a potential conflict of interest in the form of additional financial incentive. So you won't find this when you work with a fiduciary, but a lot of companies will charge fees, and they're very hard to understand on your statements, but it's something that's vitally important long term. 1% to 2% makes a big difference over time. bridging your retirement income gap. So how do we figure this all out? We're going to help you with that. Number one, let's estimate our retirement income. What do we feel we need? And we can help you with that. In fact, when you leave today, or if you're at home on the website, we have a nice little income analyzer. It's very simple. Some companies have 10 pages, but everything keeps changing. So this will give us a guide to decide how much do we need for income in retirement. Then we need to create a projected budget. How are we going to do this? And get a plan of action, and we'll help you do all that. A few little concepts and ideas. Increase your IRA, take advantage of employer matches, start contributing to a Roth if we can. Health savings accounts are getting very popular. We can help you with the health savings accounts. You could delay retirement a little bit if we don't have enough money to cover the income gap. We are living longer. Depends on who we are. And we can work part-time if we don't like a job. Sometimes people go in and be consultants and different things like that. We can downsize our home. Cuts a lot of expenses out. A lot of people do that. And we can watch our spending habits, dining out, travel, shopping. But what we'd like to do is create you a guaranteed income plan so that we can have more things rather than less. And the income cannot be affected by market volatility. It has to be guaranteed for life for both couples, both people. So how do we do that? Again, some of the programs that we use, again, you can use rental income and things if you like to do that, but some of the newer index annuities have really come around the last several years to help solve this problem. So I'm going to go back to, right now, back to your kit. And in the kit, there's a little piece that says Employer Plan IRA Distributions. And again, this is online also. And basically, the government has set up a program that tells you how much money you have to take from your IRA. So at age 70 and a half, they have a thing called a period. It's 27.4. So that means that your year-end statement, December 31st statement, you divide by 27.4 will tell you what you have to take from your IRA. And if you don't do that, you miss the deadline, they can penalize you up to 50% of what you should have taken out. So if you should have taken $10,000, you can be penalized $5,000 of that. So we set up a little program that shows interest rates rather than periods. And it's simply 3.65%. So at age 70 and a half, look at your year-end statement. If it's $100,000, 3.65% is $3,650. But as we get older, the federal government says, you've never paid tax on this IRA money, and we want all the tax money, if we can, before you die. Now, they do have us on this chart to 115, but it's important to note that this rises from 3% to 5 to 6 to 7, 9% pretty rapidly. So if our underlying investment, whether this IRA is invested at the bank, a CD, or an annuity, or the stock market, if it does not keep up with these numbers, all of a sudden we start drawing principal and interest and start spiraling, and all of a sudden we go to the mailbox and we get this little small check. Also, depending on how old we live, we can totally run out of money depending on how this is invested. So the annuities now have come out with a program. It usually charges about 1%, but even if the annuity runs out of money, they will guarantee the paycheck will never ever stop. So there's a saying out there, the heaviest load you'll ever carry is an empty wallet. So we can avoid that and take longevity risk off the table with some of these newer index annuities. The other issue, I'll refer back to Mark Twain. It's probably some things we haven't heard of before. It's called sequence of returns. Sequence of returns, and maybe you have a pen, just write this down. It's random and unknown. So we have money in the stock market, it's random and unknown. An example of this, and when you come into the office, I have a nice 18 years back testing on actual testing what the stock market did and how things look. So I'll let you see that when you come into the office. But for now, we have this to pass out, and it's also, again, on our website. This person puts $100,000 in the stock market, and it just has random returns. So this is called dollar cost averaging. When we're saving for retirement, it doesn't make any difference when the pluses and minuses are. In this example, over 25 years, it came out at 8%, and 100,000 turned into 684,000. So what we do is we have minus 12% in the beginning and 29% at the bottom. We just flip those around since it's random and unknown. So the pluses and minuses are all mixed up, and it comes out exactly the same, 8%. So I usually ask in my class, are there any math teachers out here? And I had one lady say yes. I says, is that true? She says, yeah, that's the principle of money. So this is dollar cost averaging. And the ugly cousin to dollar cost averaging doesn't take effect until we start drawing money out. Sequence of returns have never mattered in your life until we retire and start drawing money out. So that's maybe why we haven't heard of that or haven't been explained to us. So factors affecting a portfolio after retirement. So in this example, we took the $684,000 and used the same numbers. And we start drawing 5% out adjusted for inflation. So in our first example, this person's 82 years old, and it turns to zeros. And he calls up his broker and says, what's wrong? Well, I guess sequence returns got you. So 82 years old, he's out of money. And again, they say the heaviest load we'll ever carry is an empty wallet. The key is we don't know how many people get caught up in sequence of returns. It's not like reported. I know of one person in particular. He came to my office mid-2000s, retired, and he wanted to set some income up. And he said, well, you know, it's probably not enough money, what you're offering. The next 10 years, I'm 70, the next 10 years, you know, I'll be getting older, I won't need so much anyway. So we went back to his regular broker. This happened to be a variable annuity also, so there's extra fees even came out of that. And the broker said, you know, it's been up, it's been down, you've done pretty well over the years. Why don't you just leave it alone? So he did. I know his son very well, and about a year ago now, he came to me and said, what happened to Dad's portfolio? And I says, I don't know, I didn't do business with him. He said he just called me and his last check's coming next month. So here's an example of a guy that ran out of money. And again, we don't know how many people actually run out of money. So a reverse mortgage at that point came into play. You know, I I don't do reverse mortgages, but I know some people that do, and they're telling me that a lot of the reverse mortgages come from maybe larger homes rather than the smaller ones, just because people ran out of money. So, example 2, we flip the sequence returns right around again. And again, sequence returns do not matter until we start to take money out. And this person has $3 million at age 82. So where are you going to be on this timeline if all your money is here? Random and unknown. So we can help put a program together with 3 buckets of money, and we can take this risk also off the table with your long-term goals. Again, we can set it up so you have guaranteed income for life. A case study. We're going to go back now into your kit for a case study. I teach a 5-hour class also on this same subject, but it gets kind of long. It's over 2 nights. But this is, we usually do 3 examples there, but I'll just do 1 example for tonight. And again, this is in your kits, and it's also, we'll have an example like this online. And so what do we do? This person, let's just say, comes to me, Jim's 63, Susan's 62. They know they need $4,500 a month, and they want to retire in 2 years. They have $707,000 in their IRAs and 401ks, $35,000 down at the bank that's liquid. They're going to get Social Security, but no pension. So you bring all this to me, we'll sit down, and we'll design you 3 buckets of money. So how do we do this? We take the $4,500, subtract off the Social Security, $1,450 for Jim and $1,050 for Susan. Subtract that down. Now we need an extra $2,000 a month to live on. So we reposition $406,000 of the $707 into one of these index annuities with an income rider. And we can use our computer programs. We know how much to put in, even though it's 2 years out before they retire. Joint payout in this case is 4.9%. And that leaves more money now to go into bucket number 3, which is the growth bucket. So we leave $35,000 liquid. That seemed like an appropriate amount. We moved $406,000 into an index annuity with an income rider. Takes longevity and sequence of returns off the table. That weight is lifted. And now that leaves us $300,000, $301,000 to go out and to do what we want to do with it. You might want to invest that yourself. I have a client that he drives his wife crazy. He has to get up every day and it's noon before he gets out of the house. He has to check his stock portfolio. But you can certainly do that. We can use one of our tactical asset programs. A lot of things we can do for bucket 3. All right, so there's a rule called the 4% rule. If we have all our retirement money in stocks and bonds in a brokerage account, there's a rule that says that if we don't take more than 4% out, it's a reasonable assumption that we'll go through life and not run out of money. Since 2008, a lot of people said that's a little too aggressive. We should go less than that. But using our example, if we had $700,000 in an IRA, 401k, and left it all in the brokerage account, how much would we have to kind of set aside to cover our $2,000 a month income gap? So $2,000 a month times 12 months is $24,000, so we need $24,000 a year. So we would have to take $600,000 times, and we'll use the 4% rule. So we would have to kind of set aside $600,000 of that $700,000 at 4% to give us cover our income gap. So in this example with the index annuity, we only had to pull about $300,000. In our example, we only had to pull around $400,000, $406,000 to have guaranteed income that we know is going to last the rest of our life, which gives us $300,000 now to free up. In this example, we only have about $100,000 to free up. Again, in this example, the day we retire, we have this all set up in the stock market, we lose 20, 30, 40% or more in bucket 3. Can we still retire? Well, sure. We have our income and all here safe and sound, and we know this bucket's going to fluctuate, so we're just going to leave it alone. We don't have to draw from it. We're not going to be drawing it down like this when it's on a low basis. What if we want to go buy a nice new motorhome for $100,000? Can we do that? Still retire? Sure. So we've got a bucket here that's free to do a lot of things, and everyone in this room is different. Everyone in the audience is different. So what we do with this extra money is what makes our lifestyle, makes us happy. And knowing our income is absolutely guaranteed and secure. Okay, that's our presentation. I hope you learned something new that you've never seen before and enjoyed the presentation. From our website, you'd very easily sign up. If you'd like to come in and have an appointment, we can guide you through your retirement process, see where you are, and give you peace of mind. So thank you very much for watching.